It's June 8th, 2021, and this is Sketchworks NewsBrake. The news stops here. I'm Brian Troxell. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos will further add to his growing credentials of possible James Bond villain by blasting off into space this summer. He will actually ride his own rocket into space. And like many of his workers, he will be peeing into a pouch because he can't take a normal bathroom break. Israeli scientists have discovered a method to boost the life expectancy of mice by 23%. But even with this knowledge, the mice refuse to quit smoking. The New York City subway was cyber-attacked by a Chinese hacking group. So, New Yorkers, if you're currently experiencing safe and punctual subway rides, just know the MTA is working hard to get things back to normal. In other hacking news, the Justice Department managed to recover most of the nearly $5 million ransom Colonial Pipeline paid to the ransomware hackers who shut down their computer network. Meanwhile, the IRS is still trying to figure out how to send your stimulus check to you. In an event which seems more like an episode of MASH, which is a show that people over 70 might remember, U.S. troops raided a Bulgarian factory that manufactures olive oil. Apparently, what happened was President Biden ordered the raid because he heard extra virgins were being kept there. Thursday, North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un sent flowers and birthday wishes to Cuban leader Raul Castro, who turned 90. Castro thanked Kim for the flowers and then headed to Arby's to get his free birthday milkshake. At a People's Tribunal, Uyghurs recalled harrowing details of forced abortions, sterilization, and other means of abuse in China, but also said, "It sure was awesome that one time LeBron James came to visit." One of your members of Congress, someone who's trusted to pass legislation that affects you, shouldn't be trusted around a computer. Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent Tim Millard shows us what a U.S. representative chose to post on Twitter.
Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama is a member of the House Technology Committee. Despite that, he posted his Gmail password on the internet for everybody to see. Here's how we got to this point. A lawsuit filed by another member of Congress accuses Brooks of being one of the people who incited the January 6th Capitol riot. Brooks denies this, and for the longest time he was trolling this other congressman, Eric Swalwell, on Twitter about trying to find him to serve the lawsuit. So Swalwell found Brooks's wife and served the lawsuit on her. Brooks is upset about that, and he posted a picture showing the process of service on his wife. He actually took a photo of his computer monitor. And what's taped to his computer monitor? Why, that's his Gmail password and his security pin. It's a rather flex move when you're supposed to be a congressional authority on technology. As you can imagine, people got into the congressman's Gmail account. He did lock it down, but not before Sketchworks NewsBrake was able to see some of the emails in there for ourselves. We're going to go through some of those emails for you right now. Increase the size of your penis. Sexy singles in your area are looking for you. Is anybody going to Marjorie Taylor Greene's pool party? I hope you said no. Anti-government insurrectionists are in your capital looking for you. I'm starting to think that one is not a spam message. Well, there's a lot of emails to go through, and Sketchworks NewsBrake will continue to go through Congressman Brooks's emails to bring you the pertinent details about what's going on in Washington, D.C. For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Tim Millard.
Thank you, Tim. We'd like to point out to any congressional attorneys watching us that this is a parody. Please don't sue us. At least, not until we're finished with our lawsuit against the rights holders of Greece. #FreeVape. A New York man shown in this picture had his Capitol riot case dismissed due to lack of evidence. His lawyers argued, that could be any U.S. Capitol. Oregon's legislature is changing the lyrics of the official state song to remove racist language. The verse that read, "Conquered and held by free men, fairest and the best," will now read, "We're not entirely like the people you see in Portlandia, but yes, they do exist, and we're just as annoyed with them as you are. Also, just ignore all the Antifa riots." Facebook says it will suspend former President Donald Trump's accounts for 2 years, with an opportunity to be reinstated in 2023 if certain conditions are met, namely that Trump doesn't try to run for president again. A 3-year-old piano prodigy is scheduled to play a concert at Carnegie Hall. The event hopes to set the record for largest crowd to witness live child abuse. It's time for the Sketchworks NewsBrake segment we like to call Good News and Bad News. The good news: a beer company announced plans to give free beer to Americans over 21 when 70% of U.S. adults are partially vaccinated. The bad news: the beer company is Budweiser. That's a reason not to get vaccinated. But really, get vaccinated. I mean, personally, I don't care either way, since I'm vaccinated and I had COVID, so I'm like Superman. A right-wing pastor from Florida got COVID-19, after he claimed vaccination efforts were part of what he calls a mass death campaign. What would Jesus do? He'd laugh at that guy. The San Francisco Giants announced they will celebrate Pride Month by featuring rainbow colors on their uniform. The Yankees will just continue to wear tight pinstripe pants with a matching top. And now, the gratuitous plug portion of the show. First, the second occasionally annual Atl Sketch Fest is officially happening. This is Atlanta's only festival dedicated to sketch comedy. The festival will take place September 23rd through the 25th at the Village Theater in Atlanta. 9 sketch comedy groups will battle it out to be named Bestest in Show and win a cash prize. And this year, we'll also award a prize for Bestest Sketch Video. To submit your sketch comedy group or film, or to purchase tickets, visit sketchworkscomedy.com. Second, we are happy to announce Sketchworks NewsBrake can now be viewed on the streaming service Mobfi TV. Something that those of you who are watching us on Mobfi TV already know. Mobfi is an entertainment app dedicated to movies, TV shows, documentaries, podcasts, and live events. And it's available on iOS and Android mobile, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV. Download them today to check out NewsBrake and other Sketchworks material, as well as all the great original content Mobfi TV has to offer. Oh, and Sketchworks Comedy is now on Patreon, just like everybody else. See original content, get discounts, view Patreon exclusives, submit a joke news story to NewsBrake, and more, much more, so much more, an incredible amount more. Visit patreon.com/sketchworkscomedy and become a Patreon member today. Anyway, back to the news. Organizers of this year's Philly Naked Bike Ride say you won't need shirts, pants, or underwear to participate. All you need is a mask and a giant handful of chafing cream for your genitals after the ride. A 30-year-old Texas mom was arrested after she pretended to be her own daughter and snuck into her daughter's middle school in an attempt to expose the school's security flaws. Hey, guess what? The school security worked. Former President Donald Trump emerged from his metaphorical burrow to speak to fellow Republicans in North Carolina. But as it turns out, people paid more attention to what Trump was wearing. His pants looked like they're on backwards. Fact checkers who couldn't believe people asked them to fact check this say, no, his pants were on correctly. But America deserves better fashion sense from the person who brought us the Donald J. Trump signature collection of clothes that you could once buy at Macy's. You remember when there were still shopping malls and MASH was on the TV? Warner Brothers announced Christina Ricci has joined the cast of The Matrix 4. This answers the question, whatever happened to Christina Ricci? Ricci joins a cast which includes Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris? What the actual F? Oh well, Hollywood's never screwed anything up before. A bride in India died of a heart attack at her own wedding, which then forced the groom to marry her sister. Good thing the sister didn't die, because next in line was her uncle. A study done by a professor of otolaryngology at Johns Hopkins University suggests smog may damage people's sense of smell, which is actually good because smog stinks. And speaking of stuff that stinks, that's all for Sketchworks NewsBrake. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. I'm Brian Troxel. Say hi to your mom for me.
I love those barrettes in her hair, man. I tell you what, look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with her, like a little lady in her legs crossed.
Signature collection of clothes that you could once buy at Macy's. That's terrible.